There are nights when sleep doesn't come. You stare at the ceiling, feeling the weight of the day on your body, and a deeper exhaustion that has no name. You unlock your phone, try to distract yourself, but nothing really makes sense. It's a kind of emptiness that's hard to explain. You wake up, do what needs to be done, talk to people, smile. But inside, something feels heavy. It's like a part of you got left behind somewhere, and the rest of you is just pushing forward. That might be burnout. But not just the kind that comes from working too much. It's the kind that happens when you lose yourself while trying to hold everything together. And when that happens, it's not uncommon to feel a quiet urge to disappear. Not as an escape, but as survival. The desire to vanish often shows up quietly, without drama, without shouting. Just a deep wish to mute the world, to not have to answer anyone, to not be seen or expected or needed. Maybe you've never said it out loud, but you feel it. You feel a line being crossed inside. Your body goes through the motions, but your soul, it's already stopped showing up. And when that happens, everything starts to lose its color. Breakfast has no taste. Music doesn't touch you. Messages feel like noise. It's a state where even the good things feel too heavy. You try to convince yourself it's just a phase. Maybe you just need a weekend off, or a few nights of better sleep. But deep down, you know it's not that simple. It's something deeper, something that's been building for a long time, maybe even years. A sum of swallowed words, ignored desires, and feelings you've pushed aside. You kept going, like everyone does. But your soul, it gets tired too. And when it does, it doesn't announce itself. It just slowly stops being there. And what remains is a quiet emptiness that consumes everything. This kind of exhaustion isn't laziness. It's not a lack of will. It's too much of everything. Too much pressure, too many expectations, too much being available all the time. You gave too much, tried too hard, and now there's almost nothing left. It's like the tank is completely empty, and yet the world keeps expecting more. But deep down, you know something needs to change. And maybe that change begins with a pause, a real pause, not to run away from life, but to find your way back to it, in your rhythm, in your silence, in your time. Many people try to ignore this state. They tell themselves it's just stress, that things will feel better after some coffee or a lighter day. But there's a kind of tired that no rest can fix, not if the root isn't acknowledged. And that root lives in the soul, in how far you've strayed from who you are, in how often you've silenced yourself to meet what others expect. And this is where emotional healing begins, not as a fix, but as reconnection. Reconnecting with your own truth, the one that got buried beneath obligations, fears, and the constant need to please. Anxiety grows in this silence, when you start doubting if what you feel is valid or exaggerated. But your body is screaming, and ignoring it is no longer an option. Healing begins with permission. Permission to stop, to not respond right now, to not be strong all the time. Healing happens in the space between one breath and the next, in the decision to no longer force your pace, in choosing to respect what's fragile. Burnout isn't healed by motivation or productivity hacks. It's softened by listening, by silence, by presence. You don't need to do anything grand right now. Just admit to yourself that it's hard, and that continuing at this pace might be harming you more than helping. That's the first step, and for many, it's the hardest, to say, I can't keep doing this. Maybe you're afraid to stop, afraid you won't be able to start again, afraid of losing control, of being judged, of being seen as weak. But stopping isn't failure. It's protecting what's still alive in you. It's saving the part of you that still wants to breathe. It's safeguarding what productivity can't sustain, your sanity. Anxiety will say it's not safe to rest, but in truth, rest is where clarity begins. It's in the pause that you finally hear what the noise has been hiding. And maybe what you need most right now is not another solution, but a space where you don't have to explain yourself. A space where being exactly as you are is enough. Sometimes you don't even know what you're feeling. Just a tightness in your chest, a wish to vanish, or tears that come for no reason. But all of that has a name: emotional exhaustion. And it doesn't need justification. It needs care. When you write down what you feel, even if you don't have words for it, something begins to settle inside. When you walk in silence without a destination, something gently realigns. These aren't solutions that fix everything overnight, but they send a message to your nervous system. There is space now, space to exist, without pressure, without a mask, without a goal, just you with yourself. So many women carry this unnamed weight. They wake up every day, they function, they solve things, they show up, but inside they feel themselves fading. And when they ask for help, they often hear, "You just need to rest." But rest isn't just about sleep. It's about feeling safe enough to pause. It's trusting that the world won't fall apart if you let go a little. Emotional healing is this internal space where your soul can finally lay down. And for many, that space hasn't existed yet. But maybe it can begin now, here, in a place that doesn't demand strength, but offers stillness, where silence isn't emptiness, but shelter. You don't need big answers right now. Maybe you just need better questions, like, what's draining me? What have I been carrying that's quietly breaking me down? These aren't questions to rush through. They're questions to live with, to sit beside. Because when you begin to listen to yourself honestly, some answers find you. In the slower breath, in the tear you didn't hold back, in the moment you realize you don't have to keep enduring everything. That's when healing shows up. Not as a miracle, but as a memory. You're still here, tired maybe, but still here. And being here, that's what matters right now. If you're at your limit, maybe that limit deserves respect, not resistance. Maybe your body is asking for something your mind hasn't yet accepted. Rest. Not rest as quitting, but as preservation. Maybe what will heal you isn't something new you have to do, but finally stopping the violence of always having to be okay. When you give yourself that kind of permission, something softens inside. The constant tension starts to loosen. You don't need to heal completely today. You just need to stop hurting yourself a little less. If you could see yourself now through the eyes of someone who truly loves you, would you still be so hard on yourself? Would you have the courage to offer yourself the same care you give others? Emotional healing includes this: learning to be your own safe presence. Not because it sounds poetic, but because it's needed. No one else will fully understand what you're feeling, but there's a place in you that knows, that listens to you even when you don't speak. And that place deserves your care. No rush, no performance, just honesty. You don't need to become someone else to deserve care. You just need to acknowledge that it's been hurting and that your pain deserves a place to rest. And as you return to yourself, some small signs start to show. You begin to recognize when you're overloaded, when you need to say no, when you need silence, and you slowly start honoring that, even with fear, even with difficulty. This kind of listening changes everything, because you stop living on autopilot and start living in presence, not as some spiritual concept, but as someone who gets tired, who feels, who needs to pause sometimes, and who's learning that all of that is deeply human and deeply needed. Maybe you've never had a space where you could be like this, so honest with what you feel, so free to rest without guilt. But that space can be built, even if slowly, even if it starts in a video like this. If you've made it this far, maybe something in you is asking for this. More silence, more presence, less pressure. You don't need to explain why you're tired or hide your pain for fear of being misunderstood. The exhaustion you feel is valid, and you are not alone in this. Here, there is a place where this can be felt peacefully. The soul doesn't want to disappear forever. It just wants time, wants to step away from everything that pulled it away from itself, wants to remember what it feels like to breathe without fear, to feel again without getting lost. And maybe it all begins here, by admitting you've reached your limit and deciding that now it's time to come home to yourself. In your time, in your quiet, with all the gentleness this journey asks for. If something in this spoke to you, just remember, you don't have to go through this alone. This space exists to be a refuge. Whenever the world feels too heavy, we'll be here, with words that listen, and silences that hold, like a warm blanket on a cold day.